Welcome to the Hustle Wing podcast. Today we are joined by the lovely Gina Stockdall, founder and CEO of Marilyn, Jeanne Designs. She's going to chat to us today about her company. We're going to get to know her a little bit and have a good time. So thank you so much for joining us today, Gina. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell me, what do you guys do at Marilyn, Jeanne Designs?
So we do pretty much any type of graphic design works, talking like branding, logo, that kind of stuff. But we
Okay.
also do websites, um,
Okay.
and then any type of like business design. So think business
Hmm.
card, brochures,
Hmm.
flyers, any type of things that a
Yeah.
business need. But then we also do digital marketing. And
Okay.
so we kind of tie that all together. And basically, what we're trying to do, we typically work with nonprofits and churches. We do work with small businesses as well, though.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
but we basically are just trying to take all of those really tedious tasks off their already really full plates.
Yeah.
And so we kind of are just like, we do two things. We either will do it for you or we teach you how to do it.
Okay. Okay,
Whichever way.
cool. I like
Yeah.
that you teach as well. A lot of people, I do not know many graphic designers or, marketers that will teach you how to do that. So that's an interesting angle.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, not everybody can afford to just pay me monthly, right? Especially when it goes
Yeah.
into the nonprofit sector, their
Yeah.
budgets are already super tight, right?
Yeah. It's
So
true.
it's just cheaper to just learn yourself until you get to a point where you can just hand it off. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So then, yeah, how did you start and why did you start Marilyn Jean Designs?
So in 2021,
Hmm.
I graduated with my graphic design degree. And
Congratulations.
thank you. As we all know, I was in the middle of COVID.
Yes.
And then at the time, my children were only 3 and 7 months. So they were still
Oh,
super itty bitty. And
yeah.
so I'm like, okay, I've graduated now, though. I want to use my degree, but we're
Yeah.
also in the height of this virus that we don't know much about yet.
Yeah.
And my children are so little that I don't
Mm.
necessarily want to put them in daycare because here in the US, daycare costs are outrageous.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what can I do? And I'm like,
Okay.
well, I'll just start freelancing to at least build a portfolio and
Mm.
just kind of get my name out there, get, kind of like exercise that muscle a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of, fast forward 3 years now, we've morphed a couple of times, but it's been a huge blessing for us because now I can continue to homeschool my children. We stay
Yeah.
home, hang out. Um, but we have shifted toward the nonprofit and church sector because that's where I'm just the
Mm.
most comfortable. I've
Yeah.
worked in many, many years before, and I feel that they're underserved. Um,
Definitely.
so a lot of people ask me, like, why is my business Marilyn Jean Designs when that is obviously not my name?
Yeah, I was going to.
It's a very, very frequently asked question. So, okay.
Okay.
So basically, what it boils down to
Hmm.
is my grandma, Marilyn, was
Hmm.
my best friend, right? Growing up, she was the biggest cheerleader, was at everything. She unfortunately passed from COVID in 2020.
Oh, I'm
And
so sorry.
so, thank you. When we kind of started the business, my husband and I,
Mhm.
when I say we, um, I'm like, I want it to have a name that stands out. That like when you
Yeah,
Google it, you don't want tons of similar things to pop up, right?
definitely. Yeah.
Example, my last name is Stockdall.
Hmm.
And when I put like Stockdall designs in Google, there's a Stockdale Designs here in Kansas City.
Oh,
That's
okay.
interior designer. So I'm like, ooh, no, you know.
No.
Um, and it just kind of hit me that like we really focus on like love, compassion, and understanding and try to meet our clients
Mhm.
where they're at. And those are the three things that she always had. And so
Yeah.
I named it after her, A, because I have two boys and I don't foresee myself having more children. Uh, but B, it's just a constant reminder for me to always keep those things front and center.
Yeah.
So, it's just kind of my way, and it makes me work harder because I'm like, I want it to be successful.
Yeah, because it's her name, so you gotta make sure it's, tip
Yeah,
top.
yeah, we gotta make sure it's, taken care of. So, yeah, so that's a big reason. We're very family oriented, family
Yeah.
friendly, all that kind of stuff, which is why we also try to teach how we do things to people because I'm like,
Mm.
don't sit there and take 5 hours of the time you could be spending with your family, and I could
Yeah.
teach you how to do it in an hour and it's still effective,
Oh, I
right?
love that.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I mean, I love that it's a tribute to your grandma.
Thank you.
I feel like grandparents are just so special, and sometimes we don't get to spend as much time with them because we're grandchildren. So it's a tough relationship to navigate. So I love that you dedicated it to her, and
Thank
she's
you.
clearly such an amazing person because she influenced the company name. So I love that you get to carry her with you all the time, which is amazing.
Exactly.
Cool. So then, and also you're family orientated. I love a family orientated company. Like, those are the best.
Yes, yes.
uh,
We, like I said, we're family oriented. I obviously stay home with my kids. I've mentioned that previously.
yeah.
But another portion is so I'm also a survivor of domestic violence. And so here in Kansas City,
Oh, yeah.
like my business, we donate 20% of our earnings to the shelters here in Kansas City
Oh my
to kind of help
goodness.
support the other women here. And
Yeah.
so, it's just one of those things where, again, working with nonprofits and churches and things like that, it's just as
Yeah.
doing as much as possible to, especially after COVID, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody's societies have to kind of rebuild at this point,
Yeah.
so that's kind of our main focus. And we, even like the contractors we work with and everything else, we'll have people be like, I can't get that to you today, you know my son's sick. Well, please get
Yeah.
that to your son
Yes. Yeah. Like, family
before you
first.
before worrying about me.
Yeah.
That's kind of our thing too. And then that's another thing with like working with nonprofit and church leaders. I'm like, you have more important things to do than to make your
Yeah.
website graphics for the
Yeah.
next 2 years. I got you. I can do that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, you're amazing. I love,
Thank you.
like, I love your story. It's just thank
Thank
you
you.
for sharing, honestly.
Yeah.
So yes, then what's your vision? What's the big goal for Marilyn Jean Designs?
I think my biggest goal right now would be kind of like we have our, I don't know how I want to put this. Like we're kind of capping out on how many social media management clients we have because I'm only one person.
Yeah.
Um, so I think my vision would be to start collaborating maybe with some other social media managers that would be willing to kind of
Okay.
help me out with
Yeah.
those. But also starting to more lean into the teaching side, like maybe really have
Mm,
courses available, maybe do like monthly, group Zoom meetings for,
yeah.
because like two heads are better than one, right?
Definitely.
Just those types of things to really help support people like where they're at. Like, okay,
Yeah.
a lot of nonprofit leaders that I meet are kind of just starting out. So they
Hmm.
definitely don't have the money to be paying somebody to do their, everything for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But then we also want to make sure that we're being as affordable as possible because
Mm,
again, like, I don't, for those that don't know, at least here in the US, when you start a nonprofit, it's not your business, it's the community's business, right?
yeah.
So the
Yeah.
board of directors has to approve the budget. So
Yeah.
even if the executive director wants to do it, there are times that they'll be like, no. So we want
Yeah.
to make sure that we're still supporting that executive director though in any
Yeah.
way that we can. And so I really want to lean into, training courses, and maybe collaborating with other people on how to get those started, how to get those up and running, and kind of
Yeah.
keep.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you. So then what are some of the challenges, I guess, that you are facing at Marilyn Jean Designs, MJD?
Challenges, I think, would be me learning to say no would be one of
Oh.
them. I say, yeah, I can do that. And then I sit down and look at my list and I'm like, ooh, no, no, I can't. I
Where am
got
I going to find the time?
you know. Um, and then I think like the other challenge, I think, we're, like I said, we're kind of capping out on
Mm,
how many I can do by myself.
yeah.
So I think my biggest challenge right now is like, okay, what direction do I need to go in? Do I need to hire a contractor? Like
Mm,
how do I continue that momentum?
yeah.
You know,
Definitely. Yeah.
so that's my
Okay. Okay, cool. And then do you have like an idea as to what you have like an inclination as to which way you want to take it, or are you still
I
kind of lost?
Well, I wouldn't mind speaking with other social media managers, maybe kind of like collaborating in a way of
Yeah,
working
yeah,
together. So that way take some stuff off of my plate too, right?
yeah,
It's really
definitely.
hard for me to remember that I am just one person sometimes.
Yes.
Um, but, and then I would love to eventually offer other services like through collaboration. So like bookkeeping services. Nonprofits
Yeah.
need help with like bookkeeping, financials, those type of things. I am
Definitely.
not your girl for that. Okay.
I mean, big
I'm
ups to you for admitting it. A lot of people are like, I'll do it. And then afterwards, they're like, oh my gosh.
I always joke that I'm a graphic designer. I cannot do that. Okay. Like, let's be serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, having some like bookkeepers, like other type of parallel businesses that would
Yeah.
be able to help in a way, you know, so that way we're kind of supporting them even more
Yeah.
that aren't necessarily marketing and design.
Yeah.
I would love to
Gotcha.
be able to collaborate and kind of expand in that way also.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And then lastly, what sort of help would you like from, our community of side hustlers? So you have mentioned, um, the social media managers, and then obviously the parallels of the
Right.
bookkeeping that you've just mentioned now. Is there anything else that you're looking for?
I mean, even like website like designers or like maintenance, because again, I'm only one person and we're kind of
Yeah.
getting a lot of requests for that one.
Okay.
Um, and just those types of simple things, of I don't know, like maybe day to day to stuff,
Yeah.
like maybe somebody that would cover like even my socials because it's getting to the
Yeah.
point where like that takes a lot of my time.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, those just, but the things that pop off on the top of my head would be like social media managers,
Mm-hmm.
developers,
Mm-hmm.
bookkeepers, even
Mm-hmm.
like certain like legal teams, maybe if they're familiar
Okay.
with
Yeah.
setting up, especially in other countries,
Okay.
because I'm familiar with how to set it up in the US, but I don't know how to
Yes.
set them up in other countries. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So those types of things would be
Yeah.
really helpful because that's out of my ballpark.
Got you.
So,
Okay, so then do you work with NPOs and charities and, religions that are
typically,
across the global?
yes. So
Okay.
we also do some like digital fundraising.
Okay.
Now I'm not sitting here like putting together fundraisers because that's just not what I do.
That's
But
all you do, yeah.
one thing that brings me joy is like creating t-shirts and creating like just crafting. And so one
Yeah,
thing that we
yeah.
offer on our website is like t-shirts, hats, mugs, like all those like really popular things.
Yeah.
And
Merchandise.
25%, right. Yes, thank you. Merchandise. 25% of whatever sold is donated to that particular charity of whichever one is listed. Um,
Ah,
and so there's two that are in Africa. Um,
okay.
This one's
Cool.
in Uganda, and the other one, I believe, is Kenya. And I
Nice.
just posted them, so I'm just going through my brain here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are more than happy to work with other countries, because
Yeah.
um, it's kind of just what we do,
Yeah.
and I feel like we're all better together. So
Definitely. Yeah. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much. So
yeah,
then lastly, just before we end things off, you mentioned the collaboration aspect. How would you structure that with, if, like, let's say I'm a social media manager and I want to help you out, would you refer them to me, or would I work with you? How would it work?
for the social media managers and like website designers, you technically work like as a contractor,
Got
like
you.
like they're my client, but you're
Yeah.
helping them out, the kind of
Their
situation.
client. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, as far as like bookkeepers and those types of things, I would
Mm-hmm.
probably do more of like referrals or collaborations in that manner.
Got
Um,
you.
and then we can kind of discuss like how that would work, and then maybe do like a finder's fee either way. So like if they
Ah,
have a client that needs help with what I offer,
yeah,
you know, and they send it my way and they sign a contract,
yeah.
then they would receive, a certain percentage of that contract,
Got you.
kind of
Got
thing, and vice
you.
versa. So that way, like we each have an incentive to kind of help each
Yeah.
other, and the referrals and stuff like that are not going unnoticed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for your time, Gina. Thank you for sharing Marilyn Jean Designs with us in the
of course.
community. And I love what you do. Like I said, I love your story. I feel
Well,
like
thank
you
you.
really come from, like a pure place. Like it
Well,
seems
thank
like,
you.
it seems like you're not really like chasing the money. I feel like a lot
No.
of the time people are like, they start businesses because they want a Fortune 500, Forbes list, next billionaire. And I feel like you're like, I just want to give, and
Yeah,
it,
we just
it,
want to help
it
people.
comes through. Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
through, and I really like, you've just made my day.
Oh, thank
So really, thank you, thank you so
you.
much for chatting with me, and I wish
Of
you
course.
all the best. I cannot wait to see what 2024 has in store for you.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.